Hey guys, it's Will here, and tonight I just want to talk a little bit about my thoughts on the new Necromunda and Necromunda in general. But I thought rather than just me sitting here talking and you looking at my ugly mug for 15 minutes or so while I talk about a new game, I thought I'd give you something nicer to look at. So I've got my old House Esher gang here. Now these are converted from Dark Eldar wyches, and obviously bits of Imperial weaponry. So yeah, something a little bit nicer to look at while I do the talking. So yeah, Necromunda, it's up for pre-order already. For those of you who aren't overly familiar with the game, it was originally out in the 1990s, and it's a skirmish level game of gang warfare in a hive city. So it's set in the 41st millennium, but it is vastly removed from the battlefields of the 41st millennium. I'm just going to bring some of these across so we can look at them individually. So yeah, this is my leader. She's actually based off a succubus model, whereas the rest of them are based off witches. And yeah, so Necromunda is a really good sort of classic game, still very popular, even though it's been out of production for well over a decade now. And yeah, it's coming back. Now, the one of the real sort of classic draws of Necromunda, as well as the skirmish level combat and the other sort of general things about it being a good game, are sort of the complexity and depth you could go into with your gang. So you have a gang, and you don't just pick a gang, play a game with them, pick a new gang for the next game. Well, I mean, you can do, but they can gain experience, learn new traits, level up. They can buy new war gear, maybe get injured, acquire new injuries, some of which, a small chance of being beneficial, many of which might hurt them, but it's still worth keeping them around because they've got the new skills, whereas a fresh fighter may not have the injuries, but may not have the new skills either. So yeah, it's got that. And so when I heard GW were bringing out new Necromunda, I was really excited. And the models, I have to say, look gorgeous. You cannot deny the quality of the models. I don't think anyone has got anything negative to say about that. But, I'm not just going to wax lyrical about the game here. There are a few sort of things that are bugging me a bit about it. Now, it's not to say that these are reasons to not necessarily play the game. I mean, I've already pre-ordered my set and I'm certainly going to give it a go. But there's a few little things. I don't want to make this a whinging video, but rather more of a considered look at it rather than just all in one direction. So yeah, new models, love them, but they've quite heavily changed the mechanics of the game. I mean, we're not talking the jump from Warhammer Fantasy to Age of Sigmar level of change, but there are a few big changes, even down to like the turn sequence, which is going to be you pick a model, do the actions with that model, then your opponent picks a model, do their actions with that model, and you back and forward. And yeah, I'm just not sure about it. It might be a great idea. I'm certainly up for giving it a go. It may make the game more balanced, more tactical, but it's like the game was really popular as it was. It just didn't have any support. You could have just got away with tidying up the rules and bringing out some new miniatures and doing it as it was. But I feel like they've made themselves more work that's actually going to almost potentially hurt the product in the long run, because I'm already hearing some talk of people wanting to just play the old Necromunda, don't like change, because a lot of the people that are going to be excited by this, I mean, yeah, there's the new people who weren't around for the original incarnation of Necromunda, who going to be like, okay, cool, new game, looks great, give it a try. But there's a lot of us old school people who played it in the past and are like, hang on, you're changing it. Why did you need to change it? It was really popular as it was. It just needed support. So yeah, there is that. But I'm saying this from the point of view of someone who's not had a chance to play it yet. Obviously, it's not officially out for another couple of weeks, and so it may turn out to be great. But it's yeah, that's made me a little bit hesitant. And the other thing is that has got a lot of people's backs up is the board. So it's coming out with a cardboard gaming board to represent sort of an underhive environment, almost like a zone mortalis type thing, with sort of tunnels, closely packed walls, and none of the vertical stuff that Necromunda was always really known for. Now they are doing an expansion, which we're not going to have to wait for. It's going to come out on the same day, called Gang Wars, which is going to contain the rules for three-dimensional terrain, other gangs. Well, at least I sincerely hope it's got other gangs in it, because the starter box only has the 2 in there, and there's at least 4 more gangs, like core gangs, they need to bring out. So I'm hoping you're not going to have to buy a separate rule book for each of those, and they are going to be in Gang Wars, but we shall have to wait and see. And it's also going to have the campaign system in Gang Wars, but it's like, all of that you could have put in the core rule set. I'd have happily paid a little bit more for a little bit less other stuff, but have all the rules I need to play in the starter set, rather than have to fork out for another book from day one to play it the way everyone's going to play it. So it's a bit feels like they've not done this as great as it could have been. So I'm a little apprehensive, but it does look really good. The changes do look interesting. There's no sort of change to the rules that I think, that's just stupid. A lot of the changes, I can see the logic to that. For example, the back and forward turn sequence, rather than taking a whole turn each, could sort of help to give a bit more balance. If one gang gets the first turn and has a good round of shooting, it could easily put the other gang in an irrecoverable position, whereas if you're going back and forward, that's less likely to happen. The other thing, I'm sound like I'm criticising it a lot here, and I am actually excited about it, but trying to give my sort of complete thoughts rather than just a one-sided thought on this. And it's the models. The models look absolutely amazing, but a good chunk of them have wargear that you couldn't have in the old game, and there's certain items of wargear that don't seem to be available that were available in the old game, meaning that it's not just a case of we've got these cool new models, if you'd like to buy them. It's if you want to play with these new rules, you've got to buy a complete new set of models almost, because they're on they've completely changed the loadouts. I mean, looking at my House Esher gang here, for example, my leader has a plasma pistol and a chainsword, those I haven't seen a chainsword in the new game, in the models that they've shown so far, and that's worrying, because GW are trying to, very sensibly, only produce rules for stuff they have models for. So, immediately she's illegally armed. Heavy stubber, not seen one of them, so she can't be used. Plasma gun, not seen it, but I have seen plasma weapons, so maybe that one will stay in, I don't know, but you get my point. There's new weapons coming in as well, like these whips, chem throwers. The House Goliath guys have got this like rivet gun thing. It looks really cool, but it's like it's forcing people to buy a whole new set of stuff if they want to play Necromunda. I mean, this gang here are nice for illustration, and they were a decent gang in their time, but they're going to be completely irrelevant in the new thing. It's going to be, you have to use a new gun. I mean, this girl here, she should be alright. She's an auto pistol and a knife, and her friend here got a las gun and a knife, so that should be fine. But a lot of the special weapons seem to have changed. So I think with this, you've got to go into it not looking at it too much as like a new edition of Necromunda, but almost an entirely new game. And that's going to bug some people, I think. I think it should still be fun. It looks like a really good game, and the models, I cannot fault the models. They look gorgeous, and I'm looking forward to painting them. But The game itself, time will tell, and I really hope it doesn't end up fracturing the community and losing out on potential players because it's too different to the old one. Because I'm really up for giving this a go, but there's a doubt in my mind as to whether or not there's going to be many people wanting to play it, or if a lot of the old school Necromunda players are going to be like, well, we could just play the old one with the models we've already got. That's a perfectly fine rule set that you can still find online relatively easily. And people who didn't play Necromunda before are like, seriously, we've just had like 8 new 40k codexes in the past 5 months, and we've got Shadow Wars, which already uses models from the main range. And if we want something else on cardboard, we've got what's it called, Shadespire, the new Warhammer Warhammer Age of Sigmar board game. And it's like GW producing so much. I hope Necromunda doesn't get sort of lost in the shuffle and not played because people who would play it are busy playing other things. Necromunda, I'm certainly going to give it a go. I've got these concerns, but I've pre-ordered it. Looks great. Hoping to give it a try. Maybe persuade some of the other guys to give it a go with me. We'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching. I hope this video wasn't too negative. I'm not trying to come across too negative, but rather give a balanced opinion. Anyway, see you guys later. Bye.